Welcome to the show. I'm Joel Pereira, and today we find ourselves in the Park Ferme, the Mahindra Adventure Rally of Maharashtra being held in Nasik. Now, since we've been rallying last, a lot has changed. For instance, the blazing summer sun has been replaced by thick, dark, ominous monsoon clouds. For another, the gravel has been replaced by tarmac. That's right, the Rally of Nasik is being held on tarmac, and that, as they say, changes everything.
Let's go.
And that is the primary difference between the Rally of Maharashtra and all other rallies in the INRC circuit. This is the only rally that makes the jump from the regular dirt and gravel and moves hard and mostly smooth tarmac. What that means is an entirely new strategy for the drivers and their teams, with new suspension setups, slick tires and much faster speeds. The Rally of Maharashtra is the second event in this year's INRC 2013 calendar. And after the action-packed South India Rally a couple of months ago, the battle lines between teams and drivers has already been drawn.
Tarmac and gravel are completely two different rallies altogether. You know, it's like North Pole and the South Pole. The gravel, you have very less traction. You always have to put the car sideways. Not too much sideways, but obviously sideways to go around a corner, because you're always finding whatever traction you can at every different corner. Whereas in tarmac, you have the traction, you have the grip available with you. Your setup has to be really good. If you don't find the right setup, the car will not handle the way you want it, because the speeds can be really high, and you want to be confident sitting in your car that it will turn at 150 kilometers an hour when you want it to.
Like driving on a racetrack, you're trying to be as straight and as efficient with the car as possible. So that's there. It takes some time. We've not driven on tarmac for 2 years now. Last time we drove on tarmac in INRC was in 2011.
The tarmac rally is different, one in terms of car preparation and in terms of mental preparation. With the car preparation, obviously, we need stiffer springs, lower car, tarmac tires, which means lower profile, so faster acceleration. Generally, the speeds are up, and it's less forgiving.
Alongside being unique for offering the high-speed tarmac track to participants, the Rally of Maharashtra is in its 13th year running.
This is the only tarmac event which we run. We had a couple of years back a complaint from the competitor saying that, tarmac we have to change suspension, tires. But eventually people started loving this tarmac event.
Tarmac is always nice, thrilling to drive, because the speeds are always higher on tarmac. And here Nashik is again very special, challenging.
Of the 30 cars that line up for pre-event scrutiny on the day before the rally began, there were a few changes to the regular lineup. Of course, Team Mahindra were there with their big gun super XUVs, but a lot of drivers had made the jump from Esteems and Balinos to the faster, newer Polos. Nasik also saw the return of two of its older stars, Vikram Matthias and Karamjeet Singh, also known as the Flying Sikh, the former winner of the PWRC, now racing in the IRC category in a team slideways backed VW Polo. Here's a complete list of entries. The Rally of Maharashtra will have one super special stage, a 2.3 kilometer long at the Dada Saheb Phalke Smarak, which will open the rally weekend on Friday, following which there will be 2 loops and 3 special stages. The first stage, the Manhere stage, nicknamed Alpha, will have a total length of 13.14 kilometers. The second stage, Beta, or the Windmill stage, is 15.65 kilometers. And the Sangvi or Gamma stage is the shortest at 6.7 kilometers. The total distance of the rally is 532.31 kilometers, of which 108.5 kilometers comprise competitive sections. The name of the game here is to complete the stage as quickly as possible, and timing differences between drivers go down to fractions of seconds. When you're at the INRC, you're in it for speed and plenty of it. The 2013 season saw the emergence of the all-new SUV category, dominated almost entirely by Team Mahindra and their amped-up Super XUVs. Another big change in the lineup at the 2013 season is the emergence of the VW Polo as a serious player. At the Rally of South India, the 1.6-litre powered Polo shook things up in the 1600 category and came agonizingly close to an overall podium finish. The 2000cc category was completely dominated by the Mitsubishi Seria, underscoring the car's total dominance of rallying in India over the past 8 years. Closing the start order is the 1400cc JINRC class, almost entirely Maruti Suzuki S teams. All cars in the INRC, with the exception of suspension and safety systems, run pretty close to stock. But with weight reductions, intake, exhaust and ECU changes, along with rebuilds to the engine to allow greater tolerances, power at the wheel does get boosted by 10 to 15%.
Much faster cars, more, and the drivers also are much better nowadays. Their skills have improved. So it's very good looking good for Indian motorsport.
We didn't expect us to be that quick to begin with, but we realized that the development stage it has reached, it can beat the current crop of cars. So we're pretty happy with what we have achieved.
The car CDI in terms of what we are checking with the Polos, we are a lot less because our ratios are not ideal. We're losing a lot of power on our climbs. So we're still having to fight with the old car and against the newcomers who come in really strong. So just hanging in there at the moment.
Day 1 of the rally, the Triple S or Super Special Stage took place right inside Nasik city at the Dada Saheb Phalke Smarak. The entire venue, which houses the 2.3-kilometer Triple S stage, was jam-packed with excited spectators, many of whom were watching live motorsport for the very first time. Welcome to the first stage of the Rally of Maharashtra. This is a super special stage. It's special because it's being held right in the heart of the city in a closed circuit. It's special also because a lot of spectators can attend. Now, the thing with rallying is that more often than not, it's being held in distant rural parts of the country because of population and safety. But here, rallying becomes a spectator sport. There was plenty of hijinks at the Triple S, with drivers and cars battling for the quickest times, fighting for the fastest times, and hence the slight advantage going into the competitive stages the following day. There was a gap of almost 2 months for some of the drivers who had some trouble shaking off the cobwebs. The biggest thrill for the spectators came from star driver Gaurav Gill and his Rally XUV. Hitting the corner hard, Gill had the car up on 2 wheels for a few seconds while coming down hard and fast round the corner before slamming back down.
I saw there was a place to cut a corner and I actually never expected us to fly off so high in the air, so it pretty much catapulted and went up pretty well and got some nice photo moments, I would say.
After the carnival atmosphere of the Triple S, it was now time for some serious racing, which began bright and early on day 2 of the rally. The first loop of the morning had all drivers hitting 3 stages back to back. Gentlemen, start your engines. It's day 2 of the Rally of Maharashtra, and after the fun and games of the Super Special Stage yesterday, it's down to the business of racing. Now, the Rally of Nasik is primarily tarmac, which means that what the drivers are up against is this smooth, hard and fast asphalt. What that also means is smooth, fast and hard rallying. But there are some dangers hiding in the sidelines. Like for instance, it's been threatening all day to rain. Now, most of the drivers on this track are using slicks, but if it does rain, it's going to be a bit of a problem. Also, that this road is very narrow and a lot of the cars are going to cut corners, which means that a lot of gravel and mud is going to come onto the track, causing it to become slick. But that's something that the guys are going to have to deal with. Considering the entire Rally of Nasik was being run on tarmac, there was absolutely no room for error. super short, super fast stages, none of them more than 15 kilometers long, really put the drivers to the test.
Well, the stages are extremely nice. They're actually better than the earlier Nashik stages which we've done for 3 years. It's very fast. The second stage, it starts up with the windmills, so it's very picturesque for spectators. It's also a fast stage, so there's a lot of sections where you actually keep fourth gear for quite some time. Fourth gear is around 160 in these cars. And it's a little bumpy, so the car's bouncing around and you got to keep it flat. You got to stay committed. So it is a challenging stage. All these stages are driver stages. You have to have very good pace notes because the way we are sitting, all the corners are over the crest. So it's like a 10 right over crest, 9 right over crest. So you just have to commit. You can't see the corner. Your navigator says an 8 right over crest. You've got to know that, okay, it's flat in third gear and just go for it.
Since the distances at an INRC are so short, there really isn't any warm-up period for the car or driver. You hit the ground running and you stay that way till the end of the race. All stages of the rally had various amounts of elevations, so that meant plenty of very fast and often completely blind corners, hairpins, lightning-quick straights and huge jumps. The effect on both cars and drivers were immediate. The cars started breaking down from the word go. Halfway we find ourselves back in the service park as the cars limp back for some much needed repairs. We're going to take a short break right now, but before we go, here's the full listings as it stands. At the end of the first loop of day 2 with 1 SSS and 3 stages complete, Amitrajit Ghosh and Ashwin Naik maintained a slender lead, with veteran and former winner Vikram Matthias breathing down their neck. Coming in at third place was Arjun Rao and Satish Rajgopal pushing hard in their polo, followed by the team of Rahul Kantaraj and Vivek Bhatt following close behind. Coming up after the break, all the action from loops 2 and 3 plus the winners of the Rally of Maharashtra. With the first loop of all 3 stages completed, all drivers head back to the service, which is a vital if not exactly glamorous part of rallying. But like everything in rallying, even services are timed, with penalties for drivers who exceed time spent in service. The minute cars hit their service bays, mechanics frantically repair everything that they can, while drivers consult their service chiefs. Halfway through the service though, the rains, which have been threatening to make an appearance all day, finally decided to show up to the party. For the drivers and service chiefs, this called for frantic readjustments to strategy, with many teams deciding to physically make cuts to the rubber.
You need to cut the tires for more grip to get the water out of the tire. So especially on tarmac, it's more important. So we've got some people, friends who are in the stage. I believe in the second stage, it's raining heavily, so I've opted for a full cut in the front and a half at the back. So let's see how that works out for us. Different people are going with different tires and different cuts. So we'll only find out with the stage types.
Loop 2 began in earnest post-lunch, but with 30 cars hitting the track again, the surface did begin to show signs of wear. By the end of the first loop, 6 cars retired out, either due to crashes or mechanical failures. Prominent among the retirees were rallying veteran Sunny Sidhu from Team Mahindra, Dr. Bikku Babu and George Verghese in their Cedia, and rookie talent Dean Mascarenhas and Shrupta Padiwal. And with the stages being up in the hills, drivers had to face the unique challenge of having some parts of the track bone dry, with heavy rains and wet roads greeting cars just round corners. The team of Amitrajit Ghosh and Ashwin Naik, veteran rallyists and last year's champions, were making good time, even though they were having massive issues with their ECU. With their racing ECU gone bust, the guys were down to using their stock ECU while fending off attacks from challengers from lower in the order.
First stage of the day, the ECU on our car went, so we had to go switch to stock ECU. We're running the whole stage in stock. Second stage, we had a puncture on the front left, about 4 kilometers from the finish.
At the end of the second loop and the day's racing, Gaurav Gill in the SUV class had the fastest overall time, with Amitrajit Ghosh with the quickest time in the INRC. Arjun Rao in his Polo edged out Vikram Matthias to come in second place, while Vikram was in third place at the end of day 2.
Day 1 we had planned to push hard because 6 stages, long stages, and we thought if we do well, and then the remaining stages of day 2 we could just cruise. So first 3 stages went pretty good for us. We were there among the top 3, but unfortunately coming back to the second loop, in the very first stage I spun and I hit a rock, so my rear the beam was bent, and I had to drive the remaining 2 stages with a bent beam.
Another service, and then cars went in for Parc Fermé for the night. One more loop of all stages on day 3, and that would decide the winner. It's day 3 of the Rally of Maharashtra. Now, yesterday most participants completed 2 loops of 3 circuits, and today you've got one more. But unfortunately, over the last 2 loops, the track has kind of deteriorated. What was once smooth and fast has now become a little sandy and gravelly, especially around the corners. A lot of the XUVs especially have been cutting corners, and that means rocks on the road. And that means reduced grip for the rest of the participants. Perhaps the most fun car to watch trackside were Team Mahindra's Super XUVs, being piloted by rally veterans Gaurav Gill, Lohit Urs and Sunny Sidhu. And even though the XUVs were quite a bit heavier than the lightweight sedans in the other categories, seeing them barrel through the narrow tracks made them look quite terrifying. The massive torque from the 2.2-litre diesel engine and all-wheel drive, coupled with the mad skills of Gaurav Gill, made the XUV 500 the fastest vehicle on the track. However, the other 2 Mahindras in the SUV class weren't faring too well. Lohit kept having turbo issues with his car, while Sunny Sidhu had to pull out on the first day itself. However, the XUV has not been homologated by the FMSCI, so its timings did not go into the overall INRC score, even though Gaurav Gill had the fastest overall times. The 1.6 Polos, though, had no such problems. On day 1, both teams of Arjun Rao with co-drivers Satish Rajgopal and Bairam Godrej put on some blistering times in their VWs.
In tarmac we carry much more speeds, and Nasik is known for its speed. We drive on a very fast and hilly terrain, so the speeds are very high. And yes, there's no margin for error in tarmac events.
With Volkswagen Motorsport offering teams with much needed support, we are predicting that many more drivers are going to make the jump from their Esteems and Balinos.
Volkswagen started the customer sport division right now, and we are selling cars to people who are interested in rallying and helping them out with technical development. We give a discounted price on the car, and we support them with the technical development of the car, and also discounted spares. We give them a basic 1.6-litre engine car with a new engine and gearbox and reinforced chassis, and from there on they take further development.
The action continued on the third loop of the circuit, but after a day and a half of hard racing, some of the cars could go no further, with a total of 11 cars retiring. It is especially heartbreaking for competitors when their cars go down, because serious expenditure aside, it's the sheer amount of effort and dedication that seems to go down the drain. And then at the end of 2 days of hard racing, it was time to add the numbers and decide the winners. Careful and complex calculations completed, it was time to find out who came out on top. Winning the JINRC or Junior 1400cc category was Asad Khan with Zain Asrar with a final time of 1:36.12, followed by Aniruddha Rangnekar and Nitin Jacob with a final time of 1:39.57, with the Polo being piloted by Rohan Pawar and Arjun Mehta coming in third place with a time of 1:43.46.
The tarmac stages, it's good fun to drive. This is my first tarmac rally. Actually, this is my 4th rally overall, and by God's grace, I've been able to be on the podium in all the 4 rallies. So, driving in tarmac, it's totally different. It's not like driving in the dirt. You have to be very, very careful. And like I said, it's very easy to make mistakes, silly mistakes. And but you won't be able to get the car out once you're out. So, just have to stick on the road.
Taking the INRC 1600cc category was Arjun Rao and Satish Rajgopal's Polo with a final time of 1:30.101, followed by Raghunandan B and Suraj K clocking in at 1:33.17. Winning bronze was Bairam Godrej and Prajwal Pai with a final time of 1:33.51. The SUV category saw some action. A 1-2 finish for the teams of Gaurav Gill and Musa Sharif with a final time of 1:50.32, followed by Lohit Urz and Bonnie Thomas, beset by technical issues, coming in second place with a time of 1:45.12. The premier prize, however, the INRC champion of the Rally of Maharashtra, went to the team of Amit Rajit Ghosh and Ashwin Naik with a final time of 1:28.16, with Vikram Matthias and Shrikant literally breathing down their shoulders, the final time of 1:28.45. Third place came from lower down in the order. Arjun Rao in his 1600cc Polo beat out the bigger, faster CDRs in the 2000cc category to finish in third place with a time of 1:31.01.
Nasik has been a problem for us always. Yesterday first stage when the ECU went, I thought that's going to start again. Then next stage a puncture and I said okay, this is obviously happening as predicted for Nasik.
The IRC category saw 2 entries this year, both from foreign national drivers who would be ineligible to participate in the other categories. Karamjeet Singh, the Malaysian driver, the former winner of the PWRC driving a Polo, put up an epic timing of 1:27.40, with Sumit Punjabi and Dr. S. Dinesh taking second place with a time of 1:45.10. So this is how our rally ends. Behind me is the podium with champagne and trophies for the winners, disappointment and introspection for the people who didn't make it. But this is only the second event with the calendar that has 3 more. So we'll see you next month at the Rally of Coimbatore. Till next week then, ciao and take care.